Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Diplomacy Timing Window, where the rules are discussed and our opinions don't matter. My name is the Half Herd,
Hungry Hippos.
I'm Kazadoom.
and on today's episode, we are going to be reacting to the new Twilight Wars app update video 1.11, where everything is vibrant, beautiful, vibrant, and self-destructive, and vibrant. So let's get right into it. Thanks for joining us, and we're going to talk about the new features that were added in that update. And I wanted to just say that a lot of people have been with us since the relaunch in November. We're at a point now where most of the game features are implemented. Pretty much everything. I think the one thing, Kaza, you've mentioned it before.
Is that you still can't produce over the fleet capacity. So if you have a fleet capacity of 4, you cannot produce like 3 ships in a system that already has 2 and destroy the excess ships.
But how many times has that actually been a problem for you? Did you wanted to upgrade something, or that you wanted to just get rid of a destroyer and build a?
Yeah, it's mostly getting rid of destroyers or something that could be more efficient in terms of fighting.
Yeah, I can't say that it's ever come across my way, but that's probably why I'm 0-10. So I don't have the deep strategies that you guys have. I don't know.
It's a desperation strategy, so there's not that much going into it, but it's sometimes nice to have the option, and it's something that works in the board game, but is still not in there yet. But I think it's the only feature that you might be missing in fringe situations now.
Yeah.
Because with the recent update, you can now scuttle ships, which means that if you have a capacity of a maximum of 8 destroyers on the board, for instance, and if you want to produce a destroyer, but you have 8 on the board, you can now do it by destroying them somewhere else and putting them in the system that you use the production in.
Yeah, it's almost like you're paying to transport a ship from one side of your map to another if you are at capacity.
Exactly.
Yeah. Could you imagine being able to take a dreadnought from, say, your home system and get it right next to someone else's system just by building there? Now I'm going to destroy something in my own system. I'll put it over here.
Listen, I want to ask you guys something, because I was looking at the image they had on the video. They're showing the Titanic, very iconic image, right? And it got me thinking, like, what does scuttling mean? And I want to throw this by you because I did some little bit of research. Got on my Wikipedia. And, on Wikipedia, it says scuttling is the deliberate sinking of a ship by allowing water to flow into the hull. It can be achieved in several ways, and it's a way of self-destruction. And I mean, it just got me thinking, how do you sink a ship in space?
You blow up your reactor.
Yes, but you can't sink it. There's nothing to sink into.
Down.
The whole Space Navy borrows so much terminology from naval.
Space Navy? Do you mean Space Force?
Yes, exactly. From naval combat, that this is just a transfer of terms. So
I'm picturing something just being flown into a sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, black hole.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
A black hole and a wormhole, anyways, but maybe that'll be a topic for another video.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Twilight Imperium or actual scientific black hole?
Talking
one
about black holes,
in the same. Is it? What's the difference? I don't know.
Talking about black holes, the gravity rift is also not in there, and I don't miss it.
Yeah, who does? Who does? All right, let's get into scuttling here a bit. I kind of wanted to just mention in the video, they say that you can only do it right now during the production of the tactical action and the warfare secondary production steps. So it's missing from, I guess, a lot of components, right? Arbrick flagship, chaos mapping, integrated economy, and Hungry Hippos even mentioned, upgrade action card, for example.
Yeah, those are a few places where it's gonna, or even ghost ship. If you have too many destroyers on the board, where not many races are going to get you that far, but putting a ghost ship on the board is not going to be possible if all your destroyers are out.
I'm not 100% there, because I think the scuttling only works with production from a technical perspective, because it definitely doesn't work with the deploy ability from Prophecy of Kings. That's
Ooh,
where you
Prophecy of Kings.
cannot do scuttling.
Really?
I don't know how this, I mean, with integrated economy it should work, but with Ghost Ship and Upgrade, I'm not 100% if it actually would work from a rules perspective.
Well, maybe we should consult what the card actually says.
Yeah.
You know, I guess it depends, and I guess it depends on what the exact rule of scuttling is.
I don't think scuttling's mentioned. It's just one of
it's
those
not a
extras.
rule, it's just what we called it.
Yeah, but I mean,
It is in the rules, though, right? The ability to destroy a ship to produce it somewhere else.
Yes, but only with production.
All right.
Only
It's
with
part
production.
of it's part of the production rule, I think.
So does that exclude then things like Arboric flagship, chaos mapping
from SAR,
which are not technically production?
They are production. They are using production, but in a different, but not unit-based
but
production.
is it the same as like Sarween, right? Because Sarween is excluded from things like chaos mapping.
No,
and
because
integrated economy.
In chaos mapping, it is not a unit producing something; it is producing something.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarween goes for if a unit produces something, which
That's
is
actually true.
the distinction there.
Well, let me ask you then, if you know,
then that wouldn't work for integrated. The integrated economy, then you are producing something through the planet's production value.
Exactly.
It's not a unit,
but you can't use Sarween. Again,
exactly,
I guess
because
it's not
the
a unit.
planet is not your unit, but you can use Sarween tools from Megan for the Muad technology, because the supernova counts as being one of your units.
That has production 5.
It has production
yes.
5, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys. I want to talk about this real quick. So, is this like a shadow nerf right now to the Arboric and chaos mapping in Twilight and SAR, I should say, in Twilight Wars? Because now, you know, everybody else is getting this scuttling ability, and now these guys, where they normally would have that as part of their arsenal, they don't have it right now.
Yeah, I'd say Arboric is definitely a detriment. I mean, it's not just their flagship. I think it could also be would it also be attributed to their infantry? Or their infantry have production, so it should be okay.
Should be okay with the infantry, because the production on the infantry, I think, always happens during production of tactical step. I don't think there's a situation where infantry are producing outside that step.
No.
But from what Kaza is saying, SAR is probably not. It's not going to be an issue for SAR, because they wouldn't have been able to do it with chaos mapping anyway.
In the end, it's such a fringe situation that barely comes up anyway. So while it is something that they cannot do, which they should be able to do, it will matter in 1 out of 100 games.
All right. Well, I look forward to sinking all my dreadnoughts for no real reason.
Or my War Sun.
Yeah, 2 War Suns.
I mean, if you're Embers, if you can't get your War Sun somewhere in a quick hurry with a movement 3, you're probably not playing it right.
I foresee a new strategy of Embers scuttling both War Suns to assert dominance.
Maintain eye contact.
You heard it here first. Maintain eye contact.
They're both scuttled.
All right.
No, but aside from this addition to the core functionality of the game, we now got improved tiles and strategy card images, and it just makes the game look so much better.
Here we
Quality,
go.
it's just
improved. The upgraded cruiser card. Oh, so that's actually
that's an old card. Also, the only upgrades in this update are the system tiles and the strategy cards.
Yes, we will look at the strategy cards after the system tiles. Let's take a look at this game where we have Barony and SAR going at it for what system is this? It's Saudor. Very strategic system next to Mechatol Rex, worth so many production and influence points.
But I love the way the colors pop, right, in this new
so
update.
Vibrant.
Very vibrant. I can't say it more. I can't say it enough. Vibrant, vibrancy, vibracious.
And it fits better together now, because at the beginning we only had the new codex cards in the good quality, and now more cards are of the same and tiles of the same quality, so it really looks more uniform than before.
Yeah,
All right.
Hippos, I think if you pull in the large display there, if you can pull up a strategy card next to, let's say, one of these old cards, yeah, even that Dreadnought 2, nice, if you zoom in there next to those, you can really see, I think, the difference, right? And even with the system tile below, right?
Yeah, the system tiles quite a bit more. You can see
Yeah.
how they're in the past. There have been these cards where even the action cards, they're
Yeah.
a little clouded, but the vibrancy of the strat cards and the system tiles are actually
even
kind
with
of
the
nice.
tokens, right? The command tokens on the board, right? I forgot to mention it's not just system tiles and strategy cards. It's the tokens, right? Command tokens. It's the control tokens. It's the trade good and commodities as well. So you can see it as well in the player tab, right?
Ooh.
Like very, in my opinion, much more, much greater visibility, right? It's just a lot.
I play on mobile so much, so a lot of what I see, I just try to get through this information as much as possible. But now that I'm on the computer, it's much nicer.
Yeah,
It really is nicer.
Yeah.
I'd say one thing though, when we're playing on mobile, the black and blue units, even on computer, they're difficult to see. We might need to make the developers aware of that.
I think you both made that comment on the user feedback in the Discord, actually, right? Was to say maybe revising those colors potentially.
Yeah, as you span out, the blue is.
It blends in a little.
It blends in.
For sure. I think if you make it like a nice cyan, that's vibrant, kind of like the other colors, right? You got yellow, magenta, green, red. They stand out, right? So maybe a nice cyan in place of the blue.
Maybe in the comments section, we could get a few other suggestions for colors. I mean, I think I'd like keeping them in the primary, but I was thinking instead of black, go for white, or even using like a gray, like a
if there was a bit more contrast, if there was a bit more contrast in the models itself, or a frame around it, a white frame, then they would pop extremely well as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And let's take a look at the strat cards.
And one thing, sorry to interrupt, if you hover over the system tiles, one thing that's super important, before it was like a throbbing, I don't know, visual for the active system. And now you have this frame around it of the one that you're selecting. And you can even see this little red frame of the system that is activated. So it's easier to find where the action is going on.
That's right, yeah. And Hippos, you were mentioning mobile before. I'm a heavy mobile user myself. Probably, I'd say at least 95% of my time is on mobile. One thing I've noticed with the replacement of the throbbing system, as Kaza so aptly named it.
Such a good adjective.
Such a good adjective. Is that with the replacement of that, I've noticed responsiveness on mobile has really been a lot better. I have no lag anymore when I'm pulling up menus. When I'm panning and zooming, it's instantaneous. The response is just beautiful. Even typing out text messages in the chat, I used to get some lag, stutter, trying to do that, and now everything is just beautiful.
I was so used to it that it kind of lost. It was lost on me how quickly everything was moving. I was like, whatever. I'm gonna play my game. What's there to complain?
You were living life at a ping of 100 ms there, I think.
Yeah, but you're right. That actually is kind of nice, and I invite everyone who's watching this to realize and remember just a week ago, or maybe it'll be 2 weeks ago by the time it gets posted. We were taking a long time to get to any of the screens, shifting between screens.
I mean, the worst one was finding the empty space that was activated.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so this helps a lot for sure.
And I think another good comparison is you can see this is what the strategy cards look like now. And we have a newly started game between us three here. It hasn't started yet, but just on the side, this is what they used to look like.
Yeah, pretty big difference for sure. It's great. I love it.
And I mean, in general, it just shows how far this app has come in is it now 4 months that it's kind of public?
Yeah, that's right. Started so Twilight Wars came online, I think either late November, early December. We're here now in March, and things are looking great. I remember back when this thing was just a baby, and you know, it was I think we had 6 factions on day 1 with the original release back in summer of 2020, and now we're up to 14 factions. Almost like we said earlier in the video, almost all mechanics implemented. Majority of game components. I think we're really just missing some laws and some agendas and some action cards.
I think it's really representative that they've taken some time and actually beautified it, because they know they've got the core game mechanics kind of already implemented in the code. And so it's, you know, add a couple more factions. I think there's 2-3 more factions left.
3
more,
Ghosts,
yeah.
Mentak, Ghosts.
Mentak.
Yeah, perfect.
But I mean, the problem there is it's asynchronous, so some action cards, the question is if it's actually good to implement them or not, because it would open up 10,000 timing windows and slow down the game immensely.
Oh,
yeah, it'll be interesting.
The infamous timing window.
But there's the one we were talking about offline, I think, right? Which one? Public disgrace, I think it was. That would be, if it's implemented as is written, it'll be just incredibly annoying.
Yep, after everybody picks a card, everybody has to say he doesn't want to play public disgrace, basically.
Yeah.
Ending up with 25 queries for every player.
During every strategy phase.
Every strategy phase. But yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how those get incorporated, or maybe they won't. I don't know. Who knows? But maybe we can talk about some of those in some of our future videos, and talk about potential ideas for these cards, for these problematic cards.
Yeah, this is our first video, first cast, whatever you want to call it, and we're just reacting to the new update for a platform that we're crazy about. But we have some really good ideas coming forward about what we could do, some discussions we can have, and whether or not the opinions matter is entirely up to you.
Yeah. Overall, I'd say I give this update a solid, I don't know, 4.5 out of 5-star rating. Is pretty good update. I'm pretty happy with it. What do you guys think?
I mean, as a user, I would want more all the time, but I'm just super happy that the core of the game is implemented now. That's, I think, the most important part. I don't care if there's action cards missing. But for the game experience, being used to playing on Tabletop Simulator or in person, you're just used to having the option to do certain things. And as you just can't move pieces around freestyle here, it's all scripted. It's good to have the options implemented that it could do on the table as well. Speaking
of wanting more, I've seen on the Discord more than a few people asking if they're going to implement Prophecy of Kings into the app. Can only imagine the headache. I mean, the developers are so good at responding to any user feedback and to any bugs, which are super minimal these days. People are just not understanding how to play. But
or you miss that you need to spend 1 resource per fighter or infantry. That's one of the most common ones.
Yes. I unfortunately bothered them about that a while ago, thankfully, but
happened to everybody.
I learned my lesson.
It'll happen at least once. That's how you get initiated.
Yep.
Yeah. They're doing a great job, and to already ask them to think about implementing Prophecy of Kings just seems.
People are just hungry for the game, I guess.
For
it's
sure.
Like with not being able to play in person, this is a really great way to enjoy a game, get to know new people.
Yeah,
and
I've got about 6 ongoing games right now, and I've finished 3. What about you guys?
I have 12 ongoing, and I finished 10.
Holy crap!
I'm at 12 to 9.
Maybe I should up my game.
But mine, there's a few that are stalling out because people are not playing anymore, unfortunately.
I think I've had 2 abandon, and 2 of my current ones will probably abandon soon.
Yeah, I haven't had any abandoned, but I do know 1 is abandoning. So I guess I should say I have 5 ongoing.
But the good thing is, once you kind of get involved and play in the community. Like I'd say I have a good 20 people now that I know are like, good people to play with. And so most of my recent games that are up are, pretty responsive and they've been fun. So
absolutely. And I mean, you obviously can't rely on everybody at this point. The community is not as tight-knit as we would probably like it to be. But even like playing the first few turns with a new race that you've never played before is sometimes really nice.
Definitely. All right. Any closing remarks, Hippos or Kazadoom?
No, I'm happy. Things look pretty.
Yeah.
Always more to make nicer, but it's so nice to be able to play Twilight Wars with Twilight Imperium with people during this pandemic.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been kind of a lifesaver when it comes to like my gaming addiction.
Yeah, I can second that for sure. For sure. All right. Thanks for your time, guys. And thanks everyone for listening. I think we've spent enough time stalling in this timing window. So let's hit that pass button and keep the game moving.
Twilight Imperium 4th Edition is a game of galactic conquest and diplomacy with fans around the world. It was designed by Dane Beltrami, Corey Konieczka, and Christian Peterson with art by Scott Schomburg, and published by Fantasy Flight Games. Please support the official release and your local game store by purchasing a personal copy. For those of you who want to enjoy Fantasy Flight's games online or on mobile in asynchronous or synchronous play, which, let's face it, is the only type of gaming we can do these days, please check out and support the Twilight Wars app. All links are in the description below.